live class. This is Anuradha Chatterjee, who will be speaking to you on the relevance of English in the workplace. You see, we all speak English, okay? But the way we speak in different situations, let's say a personal situation, social, or let's say professional, varies. There are terminologies which we use for each of these different stations, okay? I won't go into detail for personal or social because that is not of relevance over here. But let's say we speak about professional, okay? Like how much of English or what kind of a terminology, what I would say jargon. Jargon is a technical terminology. We don't use jargons all the time. But definitely when we speak in English, okay, we should be able to convey our thoughts and satisfy the requirements of the person we are speaking to. Okay. For instance, in our day-to-day social life or in our personal life, we may use language which is not very apt with grammar, but in where our workplace is concerned, where profession is concerned, we have to be very apt. Okay. Now, before I continue, there is one thing that I would like to make clear to everybody. That is, we all look for a job. Job is important to all of us. Okay, we train ourselves. We train. We start our training process from a very short, small age. That is to say, we have a focus. We've been told by our seniors that we should have focus. Okay, but what is this job? This job is basically an effort to sell our skills. Now let's say I'll put it in a very simple fashion. Okay, when you go out to purchase something, okay, purchase something. Let's say you have gone to purchase a telephone, okay, a mobile phone. Huh? So you have a particular. What are the things that you're going to look into? You're going to look into the price. You're going to look into the technology that it's covering, the utility that is going to utility that is going to bring to you, okay, and definitely like whether it's available or not, isn't it so? Right? Similarly, when you are going to purchase this mobile phone, the seller of the mobile phone will try to sell the mobile to you, putting in all the best itineraries that it has in it. Means it will never say no salesman so far to my knowledge has said that, madam, if you purchase this product, these are the bad things about this product. No one says that. Everybody says they cover up the bad things. They show the pros, that is okay. The cons are all covered up, right? Now in a job, what happens is when you're trying to sell your skill, you are trying to convey your pros, means the qualifications that you have, the what should I say, the different skills that you have, what you are good at, okay, what you're good at. And of course, in that, in return to putting in your skills to that company, okay, we're doing some work, you are getting a salary in return, and that is the price that you are getting because of selling that skill. Okay. Now comes the employer. Okay, the person who has employed you, who is buying your skill. He also has a budget. Okay, his budget is basically the salary that you are getting. He is also looking for certain features in the product, features that you were looking into the phone that you were purchasing. Okay, he also looks into certain features that he is looking for. So the both should coincide. It should be a win-win situation. Okay, and for that situation in life, we should all try to groom ourselves. Try to do what? Try to groom ourselves. Means try to bring ourselves up to that situation where we do not get where we do not get rejected, and we are taken in, we are absorbed. Okay. So that is called a win-win situation. Now, what's the itinerary? What are the items that employer would be looking into? Okay. See, gone are those days when resume and mark sheets covered up for everything. Good marks means you'll get a good job in the market. No, that situation, those days are over. What what an employer looks for is a total package, a good package. And what should that package comprise of? The package should comprise of a candidate who can be a team leader. Okay. Now, what is a team leader? Team leader does not mean that you join the union and and you raise chaos in the organization. No, team leader means whatever work. See, we are all working for the good or the betterment of the organization, right? So for all work, we need a leadership. We need a focus. So there should be somebody to give the focus. Okay. So that particular person is the team leader. Okay. Now again, team leader does not mean that, okay, I'm the leader and I'm not approachable. No. That person should also be approachable. That person should also be approachable means not only should my colleagues be able to approach me, able to talk to me, okay, bring up, come in with their grievances, their problems, their help. I should be able to help everyone. Okay. There is nothing like, this is my job. Oh, no, that's not my job. I'm not going to do your job. If a particular person is absent, okay, he's absent. It's his job and he's absent. I cannot do the job for you. No, those days are gone. Employers now look for proper team leaders who are approachable. Okay. Next, they should be able to meet deadlines. Again, a very, very, very common statement that we almost hear, we hear almost everybody say, that is, I tried so much, but somehow I could not make it. No, it's not accepted. It's just not accepted. What we cannot do, okay, it's a work, it's a time wasted, let's say. It's a time wasted. Okay. We have to be productive. We have to produce the work. Okay. We have to be result oriented. Okay. We have to be able to meet deadlines. So again, the employer would be looking for a person who, no problem if he's a perfectionist, because in the interviews we often hear this particular question: what are your merits and your demerits? Okay, so merits, if I say that I'm a perfectionist, I like to do everything perfectly. It does not mean that I will draw a line so perfect that it will take me a whole day to draw the line. No, absolutely no. I should, for everything there is a deadline, and I should be able to meet the deadline and complete the work within that time. Okay. Next is, like, I have heard many people, but I mean it's really ridiculous. I mean really ridiculous. That is, people ask, when is the starting time of the office? When should I come? So you're told you come at 9:30 or whatever, 10 o'clock. When do I go back? What time do I go back? With a lot of energy they ask that. Okay. So if I say it's 5 o'clock, okay, or 5:30, if I say 5 o'clock, from 4 o'clock you can take it that the person will be closing all files and shutting down the computer, okay, and all ready to move on, sort of. 5 o'clock, it's my chutti ka time, sort of. Okay. So no, that's not accepted anymore. You do have a joining time, but you do not have a leaving time. Why? Do not get very depressed hearing me say that, please. It is because we have to complete our job and then go. We join an office, we go to the office for a particular job. Okay. So until and unless that work is completed, there is no way that we leave the office premises just because it is 5 o'clock. No, that's not accepted anymore. Okay. Next is, in any situation, whenever you have, 2, 3, 4 people working together, there may be a conflict. conflict would be there. You know why? Because different people think differently. Everybody cannot be thinking the same way. It's not possible. Just humanly, it's just not possible. And for that, there may be a conflict of ego, conflict of domination, anything. There are different kinds of conflict. I will not go into details regarding that. There may be a lot of resistance also. Okay. Now, for that, I should be able to solve the conflict. Conflict resolution is a very good quality which employers are looking for in employees or recruits these days. Okay. I should be an inspiration for others. I should be able to inspire people. People should be able to learn from me. You know, there is a saying that I think you all know about this. That is our graph. You know, the heartbeat that we have. Okay, if you see it on the if you see it on the machine, you will see that the graph goes up and down and up and down and up and down, which means that at times we are up and at times we are down. The minute it becomes a straight line means I'm no more. I'm dead. I'm no more. Okay. So a straight line is not preferred. So if it's ups and downs and ups and downs, and that is the way life is. Okay. So we should be able to inspire others. We should be an inspiration, a living inspiration, an example set out for others. People should feel that I'm an institution by myself. I should have all the qualities. I should not say that, okay, I'm meant to do this, which means that I can never do anything else. No, that's not really correct. Okay. And of course, with all these, I should be a motivator. I should be able to motivate others. Okay. People should be motivated by the way I speak, by the way I walk, by the way I move. Okay. Everything. Okay. I should be inspiring. I should be motivating to others. Okay. Now, let's look into the other angle. Okay. Our profile. What kind of a profile basically attracts the employer? Okay. Profile again means not only the marks that I have achieved in my education, you know, like okay, career, that is to say. No, it's not that. It is the presentations I've given, the different functions that I have attended. Okay, the different places where I've been to. Okay, different researches that I have done. Okay, researches does not always mean that I do a research in order to get a PhD. No, it doesn't mean that. Research means studying in depth into something. Okay, so all that should be put together, compiled together in order to make up my profile. And my profile should be such. My profile should be such that it should act as an inspiration even to my employer. Like a very important question, or very common, I would say, not important. Of course, it's important. A very common question which is asked in the interview process is, talk about yourself. Now, many of our students I've seen, particularly the people who are the first-time job seekers, means just out of the college, okay? They start with things like, my name is this, I'm born so and so year, I've studied here, I have my schooling, my father's name is this, that. No, all that is not required, basically. When a person says, when an employer or an interviewer says, speak about yourself, what he particularly means is, say something that is beyond your resume, because the resume is there, the CV is there. I can read the CV. I know what you've written in the CV. Okay, so that is not important. You have to say things which are not there, which you felt you cannot put, because there are all the things. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to put in all the items, all the itineraries, everything that you have done in your lifetime. Okay, so these are the things basically that you can speak about. You can speak about when somebody says, talk about yourself. Okay, and when you talk about yourself, it is basically the confidence that matters. I can tell you a small story. In fact, this is basically not a story. It's a life situation which I'm going to narrate to you. There was this job interview, and this particular boy had got this letter for the job interview, and he was all very excited about it. So he went for the job interview as usual, all properly dressed up. I mean, it's properly in proper formals. He had all his certificates and everything with him. Okay, and when he approached the building of the office of the company, that is to say, he found that the front gate of the office of the compound was open. Small gate, it was not a big, huge gate. It was a small gate, and it was open. So what this boy did, he stepped into the gate, and then behind him he closed the gate. Okay. Then he walked up, and then at the entrance, the main entrance, he found that there's usually a mat which is kept in many places. It was written welcome over there, but it was written welcome in a the mat was in a different position, means it was in a wrong position. Okay. So what this boy did, okay, he made the mat straight. Okay. Then he climbed up the stairs, okay, and then he went into a room. He was told at the downstairs, at the sentry had told him that it is on the second floor. So he climbed up the stairs, and on the second floor he found that there was this huge room, okay, huge room where a few boys were sitting, and few boys were all sitting behind, like at the end of the room, as if this is a class. And I've been a teacher for many, many, many long years, and I've seen that students literally, they feel very good about the fact that they are backbenchers. Okay. But during my time, when I was in college, those days, okay, we never felt glorified because we were back, because you have to sit behind, that is to say, okay. We never felt glorified. In fact, it used to be our target to sit in the front. Why? Why? Because we wanted to see the teacher. We did not want to miss out any words that the teacher used to say. Okay. But those days are gone. I would say that the golden days. Anyway, so those days are gone, and students now literally glorify themselves by sitting behind the end of the class, that is to say. Okay. So these students were also sitting, clustered in one corner of the room. But mind you, in the room, all the fans were on. So what this boy did, he went up to the switchboard and he switched off a few fans and just left those which was at the back on. And then he also went and sat in one corner, but definitely not behind. Not back. And then. And then, he was waiting for his turn to come. Of course, he was absolutely on time. And then finally his turn came, and he was called. Okay. So once he was called, he was asked to speak about himself. Excuse me. And then when he spoke about himself, the judges sitting out there, means the employers, the HR team who was sitting out there, they declared that you have been selected. Okay, so the boy was a little surprised. He in fact said out also that, sir, you never asked me any domain question. You never asked me in what I want, and the details and all that, the stressful questions, as we call, okay, in the interview process. You never asked me anything like that. So you think that I'm qualified for this particular job? Okay, so the judges said, yes, we were noticing the way you were coming in, and we saw it all, and we know that we need a responsible person, a person who would think that this organization is his, and it's not just that he comes and he does whatever work he is supposed to do and then push off. Okay, it means treating this organization as something which is not his own, neglecting it and all that. Okay, so it's not like that. You literally treated this organization as your own. You closed the door. You switched off the fan. You straightened out the mat. You did everything, which means that you must have had a very good upbringing. Okay, and a person with a good upbringing is definitely somebody that we would be very interested in. And so, in that case, uh, we have selected you. Okay, now this is one part of the story. I think a very interesting story. At least I find it very interesting. That this boy, with all the teachings that he had got from his childhood, what he had been taught in his childhood while he grew up, he listened to his parents. All those came of use. Because in an interview, basically what happens is there are a lot of WH questions. Now, what do you mean by WH questions? Any idea? WH questions are the where, which, how. How, of course, does not have a W in it, but we consider it as a part of the WH questions only. Okay, we are there. I mean, in an interview, it's almost like a bargain. You know, we bargain out each and every point, each and every step uh, of the process. Okay, now like I said, that our the name of our subject is English at the workplace. English basically does not only mean the language English, the Queen's language as we call it. Okay, no, it actually means how we communicate, how we deliver our thoughts. Okay, how we deliver our thoughts. Do you know any idea what's communication? Okay, communication is basically Communication is basically information plus comprehension. Comprehension means in every communication there should be some information which is passed down, and then from there it should be comprehended, means it should be understood well. Okay, it should be understood well. If a communication is, if a information is not understood, that means it is not communicated properly. Just imagine this session of mine, okay, where I'm speaking in English, and I'm sure all of you are understanding it, okay, comprehending it. Supposing I was speaking in Chinese, okay. Now, very few people who know Chinese would be understanding me and comprehending, that is to say. But for the others, it would just be like a chatterbox, you know, like a little bit of noise and, some rhetoric noise and some noise, okay. So you won't be really understanding anything, isn't it? So it is very important that for every communication, the information that is passed down is comprehended. Now we will talk about responding to job advertisements. Okay. Now, basically, advertisements are there in the paper. Okay, we all know it's there in the paper. It's there on the net. It's everywhere. Advertisements are there everywhere. Okay. Now, any idea what kind of an advertisement is most, what should I say, unwanted? Any idea? No. In the newspaper, you would find a column which says job situation vacant. Situation vacant, okay? Which means a company advertises that they need so and so, okay, data analyst, okay, a data collector, okay, a person to analyze, etc., customer handling skills, etc. So that is situation vacant, where you as a candidate will apply. Now, what happens to the situation wanted? Wanted is when a candidate himself applies for a particular job. When a candidate himself applies for a particular job, he puts his what should I say, requirement, okay, in the situation wanted, and that is really very unsought for. It's very sad. It's very sad. If you ask me on a personal level, that why do you think, ma'am, like these particular advertisements are not given much importance? It is only because people feel that, I mean, the employers, that is the HR people, they feel that once you are You're looking for a job means you are maybe you have been terminated in a particular job for a particular reason. It may be that you have been without a job for a very long time. Maybe like there has been a work gap, and that there can be umpteen number of reasons why you are without without a job. That is to say, okay. So this situation is literally not very, what should I say, not very clear, not very clear. So the people, so employers do not favor this. And the other kind of a job application that employers do not like much are the unsolicited resumes. What do you mean by unsolicited resumes? Unsolicited resumes are those resumes which you drop in, okay, which you drop in into a company, okay, thinking that there may be some kind of a vacancy in that organization. Okay, you're not very sure whether there is a vacancy or not, but you just drop in the resume. Until and unless an organization is really, what should I say? I mean, really looking for a particular position, and they are not getting one, or it's a rare situation. It is only then that they look into these unsolicited resumes. Okay, the most popular kind of a job application would be when the company hunts for a applicant inside the company. Inside the company means when they let's say increase the salary of a particular person, give him more responsibility, okay, and it's again a win-win kind of a situation. Why? Because the candidate himself is getting more salary, a little bit of more responsibility, and it should be such that the candidate should enjoy working. And at the same time, the organization would also be happy with the situation. Why? Because they already know the candidate. Okay. Next, what should I say? Next situation is where which is also quite okay with employers, is when they look for people known to your within known circle. That is to say, okay, known circle. That is. So that way they are also very comfortable. Okay, means some maybe a relation or a friend of the current employee. Okay, or maybe some even search companies. You have search companies where they give you candidates and all that. Okay, such is also it's also appreciated. Such situation is also appreciated. But what is definitely not at all appreciated is the unsolicited resumes. Okay. Now, while we are looking at an advertisement, I hope what I've said so far has been understood. Okay. Now I'll go on to the next criterion. That is to say, okay. So when we are looking at advertisements, okay. So what are the few things that we should keep in mind? One, who has put in the advertisement? Okay, means is it the company directly? Is the name of the company given? Or like I'll have to drop in my resume in the to address in the post box. That is to say, the newspaper post box. Okay, so is it like that? Okay, there in that case we are sometimes not even able to find out about the company, but that again can be a little risky. So we must know who has advertised, who has put in the advertisement. That is to say, okay, we must know about the company, and when we know about the company, we can do a little bit of research on that company also. What is the situation of the company? Okay, so that if required, we can groom ourselves, we can educate ourselves on the demands, on the requirements of the company. Okay, now. Next, we must also know what kind of people is the organization looking for. Okay, what are the skills that is required in the job? Okay, and just in case you are interested in the job, you as a candidate, okay, if you are interested in the job, okay, then you must know what you are required to do. what are the special things you are required to do? If required to upgrade yourself, you upgrade yourself so that you become absolutely what to say, if that you become absolutely apt for the situation, for the job. Okay. Now, supposing I'll ask you, what's the basic difference between two advertisements? One where all the details is in the company of the job details, that is to say, we call it the JD. The job details is given, and the other kind of a advertisement where just the qualification is given, no company name, no specifics, nothing. Okay. The difference is that it becomes a little difficult for the candidate to prepare for such a company where no details are given. When details are given, automatically what happens is it becomes easy for us. It becomes increasingly easy for us to understand and prepare ourselves for the job. Okay. Now, we will, this part I hope till here it's okay with you. Okay. So I'll now go into the next chapter, that is our language focus. Our language focus. Now, many of us, I have found, okay, people who are not with an English medium background, who have not studied English from their school, has just taken a crash course on English, or must have seen some English movies. They start speaking in English. It turns out to be very colloquial. Colloquial English is not accepted, particularly during interviews. Okay, you should not say hey. You should not say yeah. You should not say yup. You should not say no. No, nothing like that. Okay, you should speak proper English with proper punctuations. We call it paralanguage. Okay, proper punctuation so that it turns out to be very interesting. Okay. Now I'll give you an example. A very common. I don't know. Many of you must have heard this. Okay. Say if we change the punctuation of a particular sentence, if we do not punctuate a sentence properly while we are speaking. I'm not saying while we are writing. Writing, of course, yes, we are a little careful. But when we are speaking, okay. Now I'll give you a sentence. Okay. Now you look at it. The two sentences. I'll use the same amount of words, same words, but the pause, the punctuation is different. Okay? The bear eats grass, shoots, and leaves. Okay, so grass, comma, shoots and leaves, which means that the bear is eating grass. He's eating shoots, the tree shoots, that is to say, and then after eating, he leaves. Right? Now, instead of saying that, instead of putting the comma after grass, what do I say? The bear eats, full stop, shoots, and leaves. Which means what? The bear eats, and then he takes up his gun and possibly shoots, and then he leaves. Isn't it so? That's what it means. What I've done, I've just changed the punctuation of the sentence. I have not used the full stop and the comma in the right place. I have not changed any word. And look at the gross difference in the two sentences. Okay, so we must be very careful about the language focus. Okay, that is the para language as we call it. Okay, now we must not be very over polite. Okay, we should not be over polite, and at the same time we should be having our feet on the ground, that is to say, and while we are speaking, and means the firm grip on the reality. Okay, and speak, but with proper punctuation and proper set of words. Okay. Now, language focus is over. I'm sure you have understood, particularly with this bear eats leaves. Okay, example. Please remember it. Please remember it. You change the punctuation, and the entire meaning of the sentence changes. Okay, and very badly. I mean, it can be cadaverous. I mean, dangerous, absolutely dangerous. Okay. Now, next is we will go into this chapter where body language has been discussed. Okay. Now, in body language means the non-verbal communication. Okay. Non-verbal, what are the different kinds of communication that we have? We have verbal, we have non-verbal, and we have written. Non-verbal is not written, mind you. Written is written. Non-verbal is the communication that we make by the movement of our hands, movement of our eyes, our body. That is to say, in other words. Okay, so it is called the NVC. Okay, it's called NVC in the current language, in management and all. Okay, and our NVC should be very proper. It should be very keeping with what we are saying. And I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you something which may sound a little surprising to you, but it is true, very true. It has been proved scientifically. Okay, even now that I'm speaking to you, it's a verbal communication that we are having. Okay, even in this verbal communication, how much of it is pure verbal communication, means pure words, and how much of it is NVC, means non-verbal communication? You'll be surprised to know that only 7% of the communication that I'm making right now is verbal, means pure words, and the rest 93 is non-verbal. And non-verbal comprising of paralanguage. Paralanguage means the verbal communication, like I just now told you. Now the bear eats grass, shoots and leaves. Okay, so that is paralanguage, using the punctuation in the right place. Okay, and the other is my facial facial expression. Okay, now looking at the face, often we say that, okay, that person is being very angry with me. He's very angry with me. Okay, how do we know that the person is very angry with me? Like, he is keeping his mouth shut, firm mouth and stern eyes, glaring eyes, no smiling face. I'm having a smile on my face. No smiles. Okay, like this, very, very, very stern. Okay, you look very stern. So that means you have an angry face. And with that angry face, even if I say that you have done the job very well, it means what? It means that I'm forcing myself to say that the work has been done very well. I may not be actually meaning it. Maybe I had expected much more from you, or maybe I'm not happy the way you've done it, So that's it. So our body language should actually, and whenever there is a clash between the verbal words spoken and the non-verbal communication that is reflected, okay, we always support the non-verbal communication, the non-verbal inputs, that is to say. Okay, the non-verbal inputs, we always believe that. Why? Because most of the time this NVC, this non-verbal communication, is involuntary. Sometimes it is voluntary, of course, but most of the times it is involuntary. Particularly the smile, the anger, the glare, everything is involuntary. Okay. Now, of course, voluntary is like supposing I bang the table and I say that, yes, this work has to be done. Okay. Or I clap because the work has been done very well. Okay. So then that is voluntary. But most of the time it is very involuntary. And whenever there is a clash between the two, we should always follow the non-verbal communication cues, okay, means inputs, and not the verbal words. Okay. Now, I'll tell you something much more interesting, a very, very interesting thing today. Okay. It is called the science of the eye grammar, it's called eye grammar. Okay. And do you know, when this eye grammar, or who had discovered this? Eye grammar was discovered way back by Charles Darwin in his study of man and science. Okay, there we have discovered, and it's called oculesics. Okay, because it says that our eyes reveal a lot. Our eyes reveal whether, I mean, many of us, in fact, say that they can make out a person's mind or make out a person's nature by looking into the eyes. Okay, certain eyes are like, well, if you're tired, that is to say, okay, your eyes will reflect the tiredness. If you are happy, your there'll be a twinkle in your eye. Okay, and if you are angry again, your eyes would be glaring. So this oculesics, it's supposed to be a very old practice. It's called the eye grammar, okay, and it has been first discovered by Charles Darwin. Now, the other thing that we all use, but we are not perhaps aware of it, is the proxemics. Proxemics, what does proxemics mean? Proxemics is the distance, okay? The distance that we maintain while we speak, or let's say the distance that we maintain in different situations. Okay, the distance that we maintain when two people are speaking to each other, the distance that we maintain when a very aggressive person is speaking. Okay, or maybe a very shy person is speaking. In that situation, that person will be again maintaining a particular kind of a distance. Now, all this has been compiled together by H. Hall. Okay, his name is Edward H. Hall. Okay, to be precise, his name, and he had discovered that there are four kinds of distances that we maintain. Okay, one kind of a distance is when we are speaking to some people who are very close to us. Let's say our parents, our children, our partners in life. Okay, we stand in close proximity to that person. Okay, next is the social distancing. The social distancing is when we are, let's say, speaking to my neighbor. Okay, speaking to a good friend of mine also, maybe. Okay, so it is again, certain amount of distance is maintained. Next kind of a distance is, let's say, when I'm in a small gathering. Let's say when I'm teaching in a class. Okay, again the distance that is maintained between me, or the podium, that is to say, the podium and the first row of students. That again is much more than my personal, my social kind of a speech. Okay, means when I'm speaking to my parents, or speaking to my neighbor, or speaking to my class. Okay, isn't it so? The distance is again a little greater, and particularly for the final one is the public domain, where the distance is huge, absolutely huge. Okay, and now in this virtual session also, the distance is even great. Okay, so that's it. So this has also been studied, and it has also been there has also been a lot of research on this. Okay, that the distance between two people sometimes determines, okay, what is the situation that is in. Okay, means what's the situation that can be judged by the distance that is being maintained between the speaker and the listener. Okay. Now back to our interview session. Okay, we had been speaking about the interview session, using of the body language effectively. Okay, we must practice a few things. Okay, now remember this, huh? We must expand our vocabulary and practice proper non-verbal cues, means behavior. Okay, while we are speaking, while we are being spoken to. Next is, we must understand the non-verbal communication. Now, during interviews, there are many a times what is done is the silence treatment. Any idea about what a silent treatment is? You sit in a room where there are, let's say, four people. Four people means four HR heads. Okay, say HR personalities. Okay, they sit over there, and then you are questioned. You are. There are stress questions. There are different kinds of questions. Okay, and then all of a sudden everybody keeps quiet, and that's known as a silent treatment. You must be able to know which silent treatment is to be broken and in fact what kind of a treatment should you handle in which way. Should you crack it outright? Should you should you also keep quiet? Should you what kind of a respect and what amount of respect should you give to these people who are treating you with this silent treatment? Okay. Now next is of course, like I've said, that you must improve your body language. You must face an interview confidently, very, very confidently. Okay, few things. Always remember, conviction, confidence, and enthusiasm makes a very good candidate. Conviction. What does conviction mean? Conviction means that you know what you're talking about. Conviction. You must be convinced. Conviction. Confidence. You must have confidence in you. I mean, you should not feel the how. Am I right? Am I not right? What should I do? No, don't do all that. Okay. You must be confident. Whatever you know, you must speak confidently, or you don't speak at all. And of course, you must be enthusiastic. Do not sleep in your interview session. Okay. There are some people, who do not have that energy. That level, that energy level, which should be there present while a person is speaking, So that is not there, and they are so unenthusiastic. They're so they're like dead people speaking, And companies never like anybody who lacks energy. Okay. Next is, before you go for any interview, please prepare the speech properly. Just know what you are going to talk about. What you're going to talk about, okay? You must practice it before you go. The practice is extremely important, and that practice might make you a little better than what you are, so that you sail off in the interview session well. Okay. Now, while you're practicing for this interview session, you must do a little bit of warm up. You've seen warm up. You know what's warm up? Before any match, the players they run about, they jog all over the ground. Round and round, they take turns. Why? Because it's a warming up. Okay, they don't get tired. It is just that all your muscles start moving. Okay, so that's called warming up. Okay, so body movements that indicate interest. You must know what are the body movements that indicate interest. You should not, while you are delivering a presentation, let's say, you should not be dancing all over. You should not look into the ceiling while you are speaking, for instance. Okay, that will show that you are not at all interested. Okay, you should not, even if you feel that one of the HR personality is literally boring, sometimes it does happen. Okay, we are all human beings, and we have flaws. A lot of people have a lot of flaws. Okay, so even if you feel that he's a little boring, okay, do not express. Please bear with him. Okay, please bear with him. Next is, do not put up any signal that exhibits authority and power. You may be from a very well-to-do background, but please do not reflect it. Please do not expose it during your interview sessions. It is often said that you should not wear anything that is more than your salary, no matter how much you can afford. I mean, you may be born of rich parents, you may be coming from a very well-to-do, very well-off family, but that does not mean that you're going to show off your wealth during the interview. No, do not do that. Why? Because that will make the interviewer a little, what should I say? That he'll feel that the situation is dicey. That is to say, okay, he won't be convinced. He would feel that if a person can afford so much, why would he be applying for a job worth 10,000, 20,000, whatever? Why would he do that? There's no need for this person to do that. So you may be rejected. Okay. So do not show off your wealth when you are applying for a job. Okay. Next is, do not show any movement, body movement, which speaks of your pride. Okay. Let's say you have applied for a marketing job, and you have been you have been asked that you have a conveyance of your own. In marketing, in fact, if you have a conveyance of your own, particularly the most common thing that employer would appreciate would be if you have a motorbike, because a four-wheeler is usually like difficult in parking and all that. So the easiest thing that a person would be can use is a motorbike. Okay. So if he asks you, if the employer asks you, and then you just you wave off your hand, you say that bikes are not part of my thing. It's not my lifestyle. I always drive a car and not a bike, a two-wheeler. Of course, you do have costly bikes these days, but even then, I don't ride a bike. I drive a car. Okay, but that again reflects your pride, and that's one thing again that the interviewer will not be interested in. The interviewer will feel that if you are so what should I say? If you're so fulfilled, okay, if you have everything that is required in life, then why are you basically looking for this job? So the employer may not be interested in you. Okay, so I hope that so far what I've said has been comprehensible. Like I said, okay, this information which I've communicated is comprehensible. You have understood. All of you have understood. And so I'm going to sort of conclude now. I mean, I'm going to sum up. It's almost a summing up time. Okay, like all candidates in that case, whoever applies for a job, okay, should basically be confident. Confident and overconfidence, there's a difference. Okay, you should not be overconfident. You should be confident. Means you must know exactly what is expected out of you. Okay, you must be ready for any situation. You must be ready for any situation. You must be assertive, not aggressive. You know the difference between being assertive and aggressive? Aggressive is, when you are out to fight and, use wrong words, loud loud gestures, that's being aggressive. And assertive is when you're being strict, you're being a little stern maybe, but strict, and that way you drive that person's, what should I say, that person's, your point of view into that person, okay? Next is, you should never be boring. You should never be boring, okay? For every situation, nobody should feel that, oh, this person is so boring. I mean, once he starts speaking, the way he'll continue will sort of bore me up, and I'm not interested in listening to him, okay? So that kind of a situation should not arise. You should not be boring, okay? You should be open and relaxed. You should not suffer from any major kind of a prejudice or a pride, okay? Biasness, okay? You must not feel, what is this person going to speak about? What does he know? I know everything. Come on. I have studied so many years on this particular subject. I have worked on this field for so many years. So I know everything. Okay, the ins and outs and everything. I know everything. Okay, there is no way that you tell me what to do and what not to do. Okay? Next is, supposing there is some kind of a dejection somewhere. Okay, like I told you earlier in my session today, in my lecture today, that even your life graph, okay, if you see it on the meter, you would see in the machine that it goes ups and downs and ups and downs. Okay, if there are ups and downs, we survive. If it is in a straight line, we do not survive. Means we are dead. Okay. So we should be able to sustain any dejection if there is at all. We should always feel that after every dejection, there may be another chance that is coming. And even if I do not see a light at the end of the tunnel, well, I should walk up and try to find the light. Okay, I should not feel dejected. Okay, then next is like, where we are very judgmental in our thinking. Uh, I mean, without any rhyme or reason, we jump to conclusions that we feel, so this has happened. Okay, fine, great, absolutely great. I mean, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen, overconfidence, and it's called generalizations also. Overconfidence, and we jump to conclusions, and we overthink. In fact, much of our worries in life is due to overthinking. Are you aware of it? Much of our worries, okay? Let's say, I'll give you an example. Supposing you are supposed to reach one place at a particular point of time, and you are late for some reason. I mean, maybe it is like circumstantial. I mean, like, it has just happened. You are not to be blamed for it. Possible. It's quite possible. So if you start thinking on it, if you start rethinking in your mind, then automatically what happens? You are delayed even further, because your energy that you have inside you is spent on this thinking and not spent on making you move fast. Okay. And if you're on the road, if you are driving yourself or riding, there is a mighty chance that you might end up in a catastrophe. Okay. So please do not do that. Do not overthink. Do not doubt. Do not be judgmental. Do not jump to conclusions. Okay. And do not, what should I say? Do not disbelieve everybody. Okay. Always think that there is good in everything. Okay. There is good in everything, and there is a chance that, okay, it's going to come around. It's like, in fact, it is. Life is like a circle. Like, after all nights, there is a morning, isn't it so? Isn't it so? After all nights, there is a morning. I mean, we do before we go off to sleep. Do we not plan what we're going to do the next morning? Do we not set a alarm to get up in the morning, whatever time? I mean, some people get up at 5, some people at 6, 7, 8, whatever. But they do set up an alarm, isn't it so? If that is all hope, that is what we all live for. That is what we all live for. If we are not aware that we are going to be living the next day, then we will not be setting the alarm at all in the clock. So that trust, that belief in us should be there. And it is the trust that makes us live. It makes us breathe. Isn't it so? It is all trust. It is nothing else. Nothing else. Okay? It is our belief that makes us move on and on and on. I hope that whatever I've spoken so far has been useful to you, and you have understood. Okay? I would have been very happy if I would have known that there is any point in my lecture which you needed clarification. I would have been extremely happy about it. So that's it. I will be coming up with more sessions, okay, and we will meet again in our next class. Okay, so thank you very much. Bye bye.